Hello, everybody. Professor Toto here. The day after Gotham City fell, we've sent out a Trump call instead of a bat call. And I want to help you today understand, New York, why you still have hope. So let me tell you what this is like. You got a young boy, a young, dumb, stupid, madman dummy is his name now. Professor Toto has renamed the mayor-elect of New York City to Madman Dummy. And Madman Dummy is throwing a big house party. Everybody's so excited. There's going to be free booze. There's going to be free food. There's going to be free entertainment. And we're all having a house party, you know, at my house. Some 16-year-old kid going to have this great free-for-all party. The only problem is Daddy, the daddy of the 16-year-old has the keys to the house, the Wi-Fi password, and all the money. So go ahead and have your party because Daddy's got the keys. And in this situation, Daddy is Trump. All right? So let them have their little party over all the free stuff they're going to be getting because Professor Toto is here to set the record straight. So you'll never be confused. By the way, if you're not a subscriber to my daily blog on Substack, you should be. It's free of charge. Go look for Professor Toto over on Substack. All right. Let's talk about the real numbers. Donald Trump holds the checkbook, and he's already announced to the world there'll be no checks for communism. All right. So good luck, Madman Dummy, with your little win over there, because Big Daddy, Sugar Daddy, has the checkbook. Let's start talking about the numbers, shall we? The fiscal year budget for New York City, $116.9 billion a year. That's their annual operating budget. Of that amount, he depends on Donald Trump for $7.4 billion a year. Now, that's only 7% of their annual budget. I agree. They could survive without Daddy's money. But what you need to understand is Daddy's money is not just thrown at the wind. It's not the percentage that's so powerful, but the allotment where that money is allotted to. And Donald Trump has already shut down the bank. It's not coming, Madman Dummy. Now let's talk about how that 7.4 or that 7.4 billion, that 7% is allocated. Let's start at the Department of Education. $2.1 billion, the vast majority, well, a large chunk rather, of that $7 billion goes directly to education. Here's what's going to go away in New York City as soon as Madman Dummy is sworn in. Special education programs, Daddy Trump signs the check for those. They're gone. Title I funding for low-income schools, Daddy Trump signs that check. It's gone, New York City. It's time for your wake-up call, New York City. Time for you to hear the truth. You voted in a little boy to have a free party, but you forgot Daddy holds the keys to the house, the Wi-Fi password, and the checkbook, all right? And you're all going to be calling, begging, what's the password? School lunch programs, hasta la vista. Daddy Trump owns the school lunch program. After school programs, Daddy Trump owns those. Bye-bye, New York City. universal pre-K programs that Madman Dummy promised to expand. He forgot to tell them Daddy Trump has to write the check for that. That universal pre-K that was going to be free for everybody. He didn't tell them. He don't have the money for that. Daddy does. Now let's talk about social services, shall we? Between the Department of Social Services and the Department of Homeless Services, the lifeline for New York's homeless population comes from Daddy Trump. The biggest single federal award is called Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TAN. 25% of all non-pandemic funding is to help needy families in New York City. Last year, it supported 146,000 families in need. Daddy Trump signs that check. He is not giving it to socialism or communism. Daddy Trump funded 44% of family shelters in New York City. That's going to shut down. They're going to shut down because Madman Dummy wanted to have a free party in Daddy's house. Don't work that way. When Trump cuts off this money, your homeless crisis, that's already a disaster, becomes a humanitarian catastrophe of your own creation. Now, I can hear some of you right now that's starting to get eat up with that disease called socialism. Why would we do that? Let me tell you, that's what makes me mad. See, fixing to make me mad. That's what's fixing to happen. Why would we do that? First of all, the world I lived in, the world my grandmother raised me in, choices have consequences. We ain't doing nothing. You voted to get rid of all of this. This is democracy, is it not? You voted. Trump told you. He warned you. He prepared you, New York City, and you didn't listen because you're under the spell of progressivism. And in your attempt to make everything free for everybody, now you're taking away what was free. Bunch of dummies. You get what you vote for. Elections have consequences. So, in other words, don't cry now. You asked for this. Let's go to, you're going to love this one. Let's go to the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. You know, those free bus rides for all New Yorkians. There's a problem that Madman Dummy forgot to tell you, children. Those free bus rides depends on $14 billion in federal funding. And now they lose that because Daddy Trump already told them they lose that. And beyond the direct city budget, over $30 billion in federal Medicaid funding flows through New York State to the New York City hospitals and clinics. Overdone. Now, I know what some of you are already thinking because you think you're smarter than the dear professor. You're already ready to launch at me and tell me, well, Trump has to go through Congress to do all of that. And you would be so right if you weren't so wrong. I'll help you in a moment. Now, of course, Madman Dummy told the people that Trump could not do that. And of course, he referred to the Impoundment Control Act of 1974. And according to the ICA, the president cannot just withhold appropriated funds. That's true. Well, if that's true, how's Trump going to do it? Save your lecture for someone that's dumber than me, okay? Because while what you're saying is true, I accept your challenge to prove you wrong. The Impoundment Control Act, theoretically, I love that word theoretically, what it means is in a perfect world, Trump is required to send a message to Congress to get approval from the House and the Senate, and then to release funds within 45 days. All right? But let me walk you through Trump's plan. Let me tell it to you before it happens. Let me give you tomorrow's news today at the Conservative College. Not what you think. Trump does not need to formally, underline that word, formally cut funding. Here's all Trump needs to do, and he's got 3 years left to do it, to make Madman Dummy's life miserable and the lives of everyone that voted for that misery. Number one, he don't have to cut the funding. He delays grant approvals 6 to 9 months because the president has a unique privilege to request a comprehensive review process. Takes 9 months for the review. Now, the presidents normally don't request that, you understand. But a president can, and this president will. That buys him a year, all right? After he's gone through the CRP, the comprehensive review process, they'll notice a few little things that needs further clarification. And that's when you request endless documents. And then you need to request environmental impact studies. What about those compliance certifications? And then you slow walk the reimbursements until those programs run out of cash, which would happen in about 30 days. And then you have to require, the president can, pre-approval for expenditures that were previously routine. New York City, Trump's going to save you from your own stupidity. And by the way, you cannot sue Donald Trump over a delay. Yes, you can sue him if he formally withholds funds, but you can't sue him for delay. And now, those two things are going to buy him 2 to 3 years. Mamdami's first term will almost be over with. Now let's talk about weapon number 2. That's his first weapon. Delay, delay, delay. But weapon number 2, let's talk about selective enforcement, shall we? Some federal funding is mandatory, granted. Social Security, Medicare, and Trump cannot touch those without Congress. But there are huge chunks of discretionary grants that give the executive branch full power over which applicants get approved, federal government. What conditions get attached to the approval, federal government. How compliance is defined, federal government. And when the payments get processed, Donald Trump, all of that, Donald Trump. So Madman Dummy, y'all enjoy your little free party with chips and dip for everybody. Because Daddy's got the Wi-Fi password. He's got the key to the house and he's got the checkbook. So here's what Donald Trump can target. Climate initiatives such as Green New Deal projects, DEI programs, woke diversity training, sanctuary city enforcement, any program with a vague interest requirement, Donald Trump can stop it. Weapon number 3. Let's talk about the rescission package, shall we? Republicans control both chambers of Congress. Trump can send a formal rescission package to Congress requesting billions in New York funding cuts. And unlike when he tried this with a Democratic Congress, this time it could actually pass. Imagine the political calculation for Republican lawmakers if they do not. Let's imagine you're a Republican and you do not get on board with Trump against a socialist Muslim communist. Imagine you take your side. Nobody's going to touch that with a 12-foot pole, much less a 10-foot pole. So you're not willing to punish a self-proclaimed socialist mayor? They would score points with their base immediately. Number 4, what about the shutdown gambit? Trump threatens a government shutdown unless the demands are met, like we're going through right now. Trump has publicly stated he believes the Impoundment Control Act is unconstitutional. Did you hear that? Just like Roe v. Wade got overturned, he could very well get the Impoundment Control Act overturned by suing, going to his court. He promised to challenge it in court and get it overturned, and he's got a good record of doing so. The current Supreme Court is 6-3 conservative. They've already shown a willingness to overturn decades of precedent. Roe v. Wade, Chevron, affirmative action. What if they rule that the president has broad executive discretion over spending? What if they say Congress can appropriate funds, but the president decides the distribution of those funds? That could come in your lifetime in the next year or two, destroying New York City if that happens. So let's go over the damage assessment, shall we? Mr. Mayor-elect, Madman Dummy, listen. Let's say Trump follows the Impoundment Control Act. I don't believe he will, by the way. You heard it here first. I believe he's going to deliberately violate it so that they can sue him. Oh, yes, I do. So he can take it to the Supreme Court and get it overturned. That's what I believe is going to happen. Let me tell you the damage if he doesn't go to court. This is if they don't sue him and he doesn't violate the Impoundment Control Act. They're still going to lose $200 million in discretionary grants immediately. Trump's going to use every gray area to delay, costing them another $800 million immediately. But let's talk about that constitutional crisis. If Trump openly defies the ICA, SCOTUS backs him, and Congress supports him, New York City loses everything. Madman Dummy, Trump's coming for you, little boy. Y'all enjoy your free nachos tonight and tomorrow night. Get you some queso and give that away free to everybody. The whole time, y'all know y'all looking at the door waiting for Daddy to come home. Daddy's coming home. New York City is home. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.